My name is Robert Goodwin. I'm what's considered a sword master for film in LA. Martial arts and European weapons is my training background. Socrates said, the best dancers make the best fighters. And so it is. It's all about the footwork. Different sports, again, give you the attributes that you need to be able to learn to fight. And those attributes are, how do you carry yourself? How do you walk? How do you move? How's the timing of the weapon that you're using? The people I've worked with are good actors, and so they know how to tell the story, and they know the importance of telling the story physically as well as with the dialogue. Most people don't realize in a fight scene there's an arc to the fight, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, there's a story being told, and that's what's important. How does the character tell that story physically?
You're ready then? Whether I am or not, you've been more than fair.
To begin with, we have to pay homage to Mr. Bob Anderson, the sword master for the film. This gentleman's done a lot of wonderful films, but he gave everybody a wonderfully exciting fight. One that was a combination of some classic technique and Hollywood flash, shall we say.
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to kill you. You seem a decent fellow. I hate to die.
We went to England and worked with Bob Anderson, who is the British Olympian fencer. And you couldn't say I'm tired because he's in his 70s and he was amazing. It's said in the very first line, the world's greatest sword fighter. Well, I better get there.
Mandy stabbed me in the leg at one point. You practice with these carbon fiber blades because they're light, and the blade actually went into my leg. I said, don't do that. He said, what? I said, don't stab me in the leg. Pretend to stab me in the leg.
If you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything.
These are the kinds of weapons that you see used in Princess Bride. When you look at what they were doing and how they were doing it, even though they talked about some of the fencers from the 1500s, you know, I would put them probably in 1600s. When you get into the 1600s, you begin to see what's called civilian weapons, the transition from military weapons to civilian weapons. And the civilian weapons eventually became known as the rapier. These weapons in general, different styles of them, were the styles that you saw in Princess Brides. You saw elaborate piercing along all of the metal work and, you know, just hand engraved, and you could, you know, just see it. It's like he said.
I've never seen its equal.
Westley was using something closer to this, if I remember right. It's called sometimes a swept hilt. This portion, the hilt portion of the weapon, may have been handed down for 3-4 generations in your family. The blade in it is excellent. They have to be tempered, and tempering is what allows them to bend and then snap back. Okay, because if they're too stiff, what happens is they break. One of the ways you tested if you visited a sword maker in 1650s is walk up to a wall, put the blade on the wall, and see how far it would bend. If it didn't straighten, it means it was a poorly made blade and you didn't want it. You have to remember, it wouldn't serve you in a duel, because that's what these weapons were for. They were for dueling. A duel is imposing your will on someone. It's not just flapping a sword around. And duels are fought for many reasons, and they're fought to different ends. Is it fought to first blood? Is it fought to the death?
To the death. No. To the pain.
I don't think I'm quite familiar with that phrase.
Different intentions involved. You'll notice at the beginning of their fight, what they did was some kind of testing of the skills. They didn't just really charge into the person. No, they wanted to find out what their skill level was. You also never know what style you're going to come up against in a duel.
You're using Bonetti's defense against me, huh?
Just because someone was Italian doesn't mean they didn't study in Germany.
Naturally. You must expect me to attack with Capafero.
Naturally. But I find that Tybalt cancels out Capafero.
For that reason, you have to be very, very careful.
Unless the enemy has a study, he's a gripper. Which I have.
The great thing about the Princess Bride fight was there were two master swordsmen respecting one another. What did he say at the end?
I would soon destroy a stained glass window as an artist like yourself.
There's no way he was going to kill him. He's respected him too much.
However, since I can't have you following me either.
But when he met the six-fingered man, what happened? The intention changed. This is what he's been living for 20 years.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
There's no doubt as he's going to the death, even though he's wounded, he still follows through and brings up that internal strength. Different intention, different drive of the body.
Offer me money. Yes.
The cut to the cheek was leaving his brand on him. The cut to the cheek is a high insult in that it's something that you can't hide. He does this tearing action up the cheek.
Power to promise me that. All that I have and more. Please.
Any kind of breaking in the skin in the face area, get a lot of blood, and it looks worse than it is. And so for the fighter himself, it can be something that psychologically can affect them. One of the things any physical discipline, if you're training correctly, will teach you, the body is weak and it lies to you. The spirit is what drives you forward.
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
As you've seen from the fights, they can be very exciting. They can be dangerous if you're not safe with what you're doing. So it's very important that you find a qualified instructor. The Chinese say we're standing on our teacher's shoulders. So part of our responsibility as teachers and choreographers is to be as accurate as we can, but guess what? In Hollywood, it still has to have that ability of being able to entertain and tell the story as well.
You are wonderful.
Thank you. I've worked hard to become so.